Okay, and we are live.
Thank you. Hi guys, my name is Kait Kennedy. I'm a hairstylist in South Florida. I'm an official Olaplex advocate, an educator with Pulp Riot, and an ambassador for Sephora's hair products. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'm going to be talking about Olaplex's brand new purple shampoo, the number 4P. I'm going to be showing you guys how I like to use it to pre-tone hair for vibrant applications. We have a lot of information that we're going to be covering today, so we're going to go ahead and get started while people are jumping on. But I do want to let you guys know that if you ask any questions during this live stream, you'll be entered to win a free Olaplex Traveling Stylist Kit. So make sure that you're getting those questions in so we can enter you in the giveaway. So this is my model, Ariel, today. She's already a really nice light blonde, but she definitely has some warm tones in her hair that we want to make sure we neutralize before I put any vibrant colors on her. And especially with the color palette that I want to use today, we're working with a lot of cooler tones. I have some purples, some blues, and a gray that we're going to be doing. So I want to make sure that her hair is not too warm before we apply those products, so those colors can show their true tone. So what we're going to be doing to start off is focusing the new 4P on this root area a few inches down, because this is where she's the warmest. And then we're going to be kind of lathering it through her mids and ends just to get everything to a nice cool base before we apply our vivids. So I'm going to have you come on back for me. Thank you so much. Are you comfy right there? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to slide you guys over to all right, can everybody see pretty clearly from there? No, it's a little hard to get it right in the bowl, but let me know if you guys are having any visual issues, audio issues, anything like that. So here is our brand new Olaplex 4P. This stuff is amazing. I've been so obsessed with it, and all of my blondes have not been able to live without it since it came out. And we're just going to start this like any normal shampoo. We're going to get all of her hair wet, and then we're going to start working it through her hair. Is that water temperature okay? Mm-hmm. Let me know if it gets too warm, too cool or anything. All right, so like I said at the beginning, we're going to start using our purple shampoo closer to the root because that's where most of her warmth is. So we're just going to take a little bit and massage it through the root. Y'all, this is like the purplest purple shampoo I've ever used in my life. And it has that amazing clean Olaplex smell to it, but it's so pigmented. So this does an excellent job of pre-toning the hair. Or just cutting any unwanted brassy tones. Now, the main thing that I notice with the 4P compared to a lot of other purple shampoos I've used is this one leaves the hair feeling so nice. A lot of purple shampoos or toning shampoos in general have a tendency to really dry the hair out. So having that option of getting the tone that you want while leaving the hair feeling amazing is just so nice. And since I am using this as like a heavy toner today, I am going to be using a good bit of the shampoo because I really want to make sure that we cut all of that unnecessary warmth. If you're sending this home with your clients and they're leaving a nice platinum and just want to use this as more of a maintenance, they can use the normal amount of shampoo. And for today as well, since we have a lot of warm tones that we want to cancel, we're going to let this sit on the roots for about 5 minutes. Again, if your clients are using this as more of a preventative, just to keep the brass out of their hair, they can let it go for about 1 to 3. right. Now that everything through our roots is pretty saturated, I'm going to let this sit, just kind of gently massaging it through for about a minute or two on its own. Like I said, I do want this to go for about 5 minutes. And then the last 2 minutes, I'm going to pull through her ends where they weren't quite as warm, but still have a little yellow that we want to cut out. So like I said earlier, Ariel and I are in South Florida. Where are you guys all watching from today? So this is already doing an amazing job. I'm going to do a little pinch test where I kind of take my fingers and just lightly pinch the product off of the hair to see how well it's coming along. And it's already done such a good job of cutting those yellow tones off of her root area. So I'm going to give this just another minute and then we'll pull it through the ends. Now our plan for today is pre-toning with the Olaplex 4P, and then we're going to be doing some vibrant colors on Ariel. These are all cooler colors, which is why it was so important for me to neutralize this warmth in her hair before our application. And we've got 2 different blue formulas, a gray and a purple. And I'm going to be doing a kind of like diamond triangle shaped placement on her. That's going to leave her with a really cool money piece and just a lot of cool dimension going through her hair. When you're using the 4P as a toner, you really want to make sure that you're checking all of your sections and that you have a pretty good even saturation so you don't end up with some warm spots hiding out in there. And as it's going, because this works so quickly too, I'm going to keep doing that little pinch test just to make sure that the color is toning exactly where I want it to be. It's looking so good. I'm so excited.
Hi, so Steph on Facebook wants to know what's the longest time you recommend leaving in the product?
Typically about 5 minutes is going to be your max time because it does work so quickly. You'll see a lot of change to the tone in just 5 minutes. If you let it go longer, it's not going to do anything to hurt your hair, damage your hair, anything like that. But I really haven't had to let it go longer than 5 minutes. I have seen, I think on Instagram, when 4P first launched, I was just scrolling through, kind of checking out everyone's work with it. And I feel like I remember seeing some people leaving it on for a full 20, and they had gorgeous results from that as well. But the thing I like about purple shampoos too is you can really tell exactly what it's doing and you can really see how it's going to look. So I just try to kind of eyeball it. But 5 minutes is about the longest that I've needed to have it on. So now that I'm feeling okay with how the roots are looking, I am going to go ahead and pull a little more of the shampoo down through her ends where they're still hanging on to some warmth. And then we're going to let that sit for just about 1 to 2 because her ends weren't quite as warm as her roots were. We really didn't need to let those go much longer. But I just can't get over every time I use it, like how pigmented the shampoo is. It's amazing. The 4P also has Olaplex's bond building technology. So that's a really great selling point if you want to send it home with your clients to let them know that they can take care of their color, keep the brassiness out of their hair, and keep their hair nice and strong every time they use the shampoo. And again, because I'm using this as kind of a heavy toner today, I really want to make sure that I'm saturating the shampoo on so I don't end up with any like wonky warm spots hanging out in there.
So Monica from Facebook wants to know how many times a week should it be used and does it dry out the hair at all?
So I typically try to get my clients to only shampoo once or twice a week. And normally, you know, if they're shampooing frequently, they'll need to use it more frequently. So instead of telling my clients, you know, use it once a week, I try to tell them to use it every like 3 or 4 shampoos, because that's going to kind of vary based on how frequently your clients are shampooing. Typically every 3 or 4 times does a good job, because then it's doing, you know, getting all that brassiness out without taking the hair too cool as well. But then I feel like it's so easy to use that my clients can also kind of eyeball it too. You know, if they feel like their hair is getting a little brassy, then they know it's time for a purple shampoo. But typically every 3 to 4 will keep that brass out. And no, it's not drying at all. I've used a ton of different purple shampoos in my life, and I feel like not even just the purple shampoos, but any kind of like color depositing shampoo has a tendency to really dry out the hair. And with the Olaplex 4P, I don't see that at all. So we've got a really nice saturation going. I'm just going to kind of keep working it through for another minute or 2. It's going to look so good. And for what I'm doing today, if it picks up any really, really cool pieces, that's going to be totally fine for my plan, because I do want those really cool tones. But just keep an eye on it too, like I said, because this does work so fast. So if you want to just cool off someone's blonde, if they're just a little bit warm, you may not even want to let it sit for a full 3 minutes. Just like a minute or 2 will cut that warmth really, really quickly.
So we do have some people just joining us that are wondering if you are using this as the only toner.
Hi guys, thank you for coming. Yes, this is going to be the only toner that we're using today. For Vibrance, I love using a purple shampoo just because it's quick and easy. If I'm leaving someone blonde, a lot of times I like to shampoo with a purple shampoo first and then go back and do a toner on top of it. But I really just like to kind of customize it and go based off of what my guest is wanting. But for Vibrance, I love just shampooing with the purple shampoo, the 4P. So I'm already super happy with how this is looking, guys. I'm going to go ahead and rinse her out. Let me know if that water starts feeling too cool or anything. So even, I know it's a little hard to tell with her just being in the shampoo chair still, but even just from like that minute or 2 that we had it on the ends, we have a really nice, almost white blonde here. Doesn't take very long at all. So, temperature feel okay still? Good.
So Nicole on Facebook is wondering if the product rinses out easily.
Yeah, it really does. Right now I'm just kind of separating the hair and making sure that I'm getting in between. But yeah, I haven't had any struggles with it hanging on too quick or too long or anything like that. And it has a really good lather to it too. So like I said earlier, I did use quite a bit today because I wanted to make sure that we had a lot of saturation going. But it does spread very, very well. So this blonde already, I know it's always going to look a little darker when it's wet, but this is going to be the perfect starting point for the vibrance that I have planned today. And I know a lot of times before your vibrant applications, color lines advise you not to condition the hair before. I always like to condition the hair before, though. I go against manufacturer's directions a little bit there, but I just feel like it makes it such a better experience on my client if their hair is nice and conditioned, so I'm not struggling to get through their hair at all. So I'm just going to do a quick application of Olaplex No.5, which is the Olaplex Conditioner. I can show you guys my bottle in just a second. I'm not going to leave it on for very long. I really just want to work it through and make sure that I have any tangles broken up, especially because Ariel's hair is pretty long, so it kind of sits on top of itself in the shampoo bowl, which can cause it to tangle a little bit.
So we have several people asking if it stains your hands.
No. I have some gross calluses from the gym, and they stain those a little bit just because the skin is drier there, but my overall hands are fine. My nails are still blue. Ring is falling off of my hands here, but the ring isn't stained. Maybe just a little bit kind of in the crevices, but it's really nothing that I would be embarrassed to take to the grocery store. Okay, so this was the Olaplex No.5, just a quick condition to make sure her tangles are broken up. We're just going to rinse this out. Y'all, I am so excited to do this vibrant application. And I love how like quick and easy I was able to get some of that warmth out of her hair and really prep and prime her hair for my full tone vibrance. Another reason that I like to use the 4P instead of doing a whole toner is just how quick it is. Like that took me 5 minutes, whereas doing a whole toning service can add like an additional 20 minutes onto your service time. So it's just nice to have those quick options for my clients, especially if we are, you know, I do a lot of vibrance, so a lot of times those appointments consist of me lightening their hair and then doing a toning service and then doing a blowout and then doing a vibrant application and then waiting and rinsing. So it turns into like a whole like 5, 6, 7 hour process sometimes. So it's nice for myself and my clients to be able to kind of save some time where we can and be able to guarantee that we're still going to get really good results. So right now I'm just checking to make sure that I don't have any residual shampoo or conditioner left on her hair. Looks good. All right, so I'm gonna have Ariel just hop back in my styling chair for me. There you go, my love. Hi guys, thank you for being here. So I did just want to show you too, this is the Olaplex No.5 conditioner. This is what I used to condition her hair with and just make sure we didn't have any tangles before I comb her out. Now I'm going to slide us over here. I'm going to pull this behind you. Beautiful. How's the camera set up there, guys? Can everybody see okay? Hear okay, all of that?
Yep, everything's looking good.
Perfect, thank you. All righty. So now I'm just going to detangle her hair. And it really did such a good job of cutting out all of that warmth. Like she's at such a nice like level 9, 10 blonde right now that I could really do like any kind of vibrant color that I chose. We're going to be doing some deeper tones and a lighter pastel tone as well. So I like having her hair so light and so free of warm tones that it gives me the option to really do whatever I want. And pull it up so you can see me too. Hi. Okay, so for the sake of time today, I'm going to do our sectioning on wet hair, and I'm just going to be drying the sections at the bottom so you guys can see how I start the vibrant application. And then after we finish, I'll be sure to take pictures so you guys can see the final result of our vibrant color today. Am I hurting you at all? Are you good? Okay. You need anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to bring my second tray over here. So I'm going to be working off of her part, which is a little off center. So first I'm going to straighten that back out because I've combed it in 87 different directions. And like I said earlier, I'm going to be doing a kind of like diamond and triangle shaped color blocking pattern. So I'm going to be taking 4 sections, and I have 4 different colors that I'm going to be applying in each section. I've been super into color blocking lately because it gives you really, really cool effects, especially now that like kind of 90s inspired stuff is coming back into like the spotlight and is really trending now. So having those like thicker, kind of like chunkier almost sections is really, really popular right now. So my first section I'm going to take at her part, and I'm just going to take a diamond. So I'm going to start a little bit back from the hairline. This diamond is going to kind of be focusing around like the crown area of her head. So I took a diagonal here. I'm going to take another diagonal this way. And then I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side and match that up. So to me, this is why I feel like it is important to still condition before you do any kind of vibrant work, because if I didn't, even with as moisturizing as the 4P is, I feel like you're just inevitably going to have some tangles when you shampoo the hair and then are trying to comb through it. And especially when I'm trying to do these thicker sections where I'm combing a lot of them up, I just really don't want my clients to feel like they have any pain or are uncomfortable while I'm trying to work on their hair. Okay, so I'm just going to comb this all up and clip it out of the way. Do you mind if I actually have you bend your head just to the side? So we have our point starting here, just a little bit back from the hairline. We took a diagonal, another diagonal up, and then you can look straight again. So there's our back. So we have the 2 diagonals coming to a point here, and exact same thing on this side, our 2 points coming. So what that is going to do is guarantee that we leave these pieces out around her face. So when this is blocked as one color and this next section is blocked as the other one, that's going to guarantee that you have a money piece here, which I feel like everyone and their grandma just needs to have a money piece right now. Okay. So next section, we're just going to work off of our first diamond. So I'm going to take this time from the front of the hairline and pull it down to about the ear. So still working on those diagonals. And it's just going to be a copy of that first section that's right on top. I like to do my sectioning from the top down just because I can get a better feel for where everything is going to go. But then I will start my application from the bottom up, so that way I'm not trying to like clip color up and risk, you know, like smushing color off of the hair or anything like that. Okay, so here's our second section. Same exact thing. I just went, this is maybe like 1.5 inches, 2 inches down. And the size of your sections might vary a little bit based on your client's natural density. So don't get too hung up on like exactly having the same measurements that I use. As long as you can kind of get the same shape that we're going for, it's going to be awesome. And then I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. You guys don't forget to get those questions in too, because every question you ask is going to get you entered to win a free Olaplex Traveling Stylist Kit. So make sure that you are asking those questions during the live.
We actually do have a question from Natalie, wondering if you could share again what you use to prep the hair.
Yes, absolutely, Natalie. The only thing that I used on Ariel so far was the Olaplex No.4P, which is Olaplex's new purple shampoo. She came in, she was already lightened, but she had a lot of warmth in her hair, and I really, really wanted to do a cool toned palette on her today. So I just used the new Olaplex 4P to shampoo. Her base, a few inches down, was a little bit warmer than her mids and ends. So I applied the 4P on her roots first and left that sit for like 2 or 3 minutes on its own. And then the last 2 or 3 minutes, I pulled it through the ends. So everything got nice and toned from the purple shampoo, and we got rid of all of that warmth. Okay, so my next section is going to be the only one that's a little bit different. Let's see, can I spin you one more time? So from here, I'm just taking a triangular section in the back of her head. So coming off of this last diamond that we made, and I'm just taking 2 diagonals to form a little triangle here. So each one of these sections is going to be a different color. So what I have in my brain is that everything down here is going to be a really deep purple. This back triangle is going to be a gray. Our second from the top diamond up here is going to be a deep blue, and our diamond right on top is going to be a light blue.
So we do have a, sorry.
Fine, go ahead.
So we do have a question from Laura wondering if Olaplex is going to make a large back bar of the 4P.
I have not heard officially, but I don't see why they wouldn't. So I would definitely just kind of keep your eyes out for that. I absolutely feel like it could be coming. So I'm going to just start drying this bottom section so you guys can see me start the application. I know it would be super boring if you guys just had to sit here and watch me blow dry all of her hair. So I'm just going to start by blow drying this bottom section so we can get started. And while I am blow drying, if you guys want to go ahead and get your questions in, then when I'm done, I'd be happy to answer those too. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Sorry. No, you're totally fine. So Ariel's pregnant, so she has to have all the snacks while we're working. There's never a bad time for Doritos. Now, can you guys hear me over the blow dryer or no?
We can hear you.
Oh, sweet. So whenever I do a vibrant application and I'm in this in-between of like I've just shampooed out their lightener or I just toned or whatever I'm doing, I don't try to do any kind of like fancy blowout right now. I just kind of try to get the hair dry so I can put my vibrance on. That is one thing that's recommended as well, is to apply your vibrance on dry hair. And that I do typically abide by because I feel like it just ensures that your color doesn't come out with any splotchiness. So what I'm visualizing for the color and how I came up with the blocks that I wanted to use is I wanted Ariel to have like a nice, deep, really rich purple as the base, where our gray triangle is going to go. We'll give her some nice little like pops of a really like pretty gray coming through. And then the dark blue will come around and be in that money piece section that we created up here. And then she'll have a nice little light pastel blue to kind of soften everything and sit right on the top. So I'm super excited to have this all done and see how it comes out. It's always like my worst thing when I do colors. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I need to see it now. So her hair feels amazing. I know a lot of times with toning shampoos, they can feel, you can leave the hair feeling very like dry and brittle, kind of like crunchy, but her hair feels like I just did all the treatments in the world to it.
So we do have a lot of questions rolling in if you want to answer some of those now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one we have from Tanya is, have you ever had 4P pick up or stain purple?
I haven't on anything. The only thing, like we mentioned a few minutes earlier, is like just the tiniest little bit on my hands, which I feel gross even showing this to you guys, but where I have some calluses here and the skin is really, really dry, it can kind of pick up there a little bit, but my hands overall are totally fine. Everywhere around her scalp, while I was shampooing, I did get it on her hairline and it just wiped right off.
So Nicole also wants to know, what level blonde is the highest it can achieve?
So my kind of like rule of thumb when you're toning, whether it be with an actual toner or with a toning shampoo, is it's not necessarily going to change the level. It's just going to be able to change the tone. So if you're, let me make sure I understand your question correctly. Are you asking what levels can you use this on? Because if that's your question, you can use this on any level. Even if someone wants, like, you know, people ask for ridiculous things like, I want a caramel blonde, but not like a warm caramel or a golden caramel. You can even use these on like level 6 and up, you know, and it'll still tone out brassiness. But as far as like, it's not going to lift or change your level. It will just cool off the level that you're at. So hopefully I answered that. If I misunderstood you, just ask again and I'll try to figure out exactly the right answer for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start applying our vibrance, and I'm going to share what I mixed with you guys first, and then I'll be happy to answer more questions as well. Before I do that, I want to get in here and show you guys her hair. So my lighting in my suite is absolutely horrible, but even with my horrendous lighting, it made her hair such a pretty white blonde. I did take some before pictures as well, so if you guys weren't here at the start, you can definitely go back and rewatch the beginning to see how her hair looked when we started, but I will also have some photos that I can share if you guys want to see exactly where our starting point was. So I have 4 different formulas, one for each block that we've created. I do educate with Pulp Riot, so these are all Pulp Riot formulas. Our first one that we're going to be doing in our bottom section is this really nice, deep, rich purple. This was Velvet with about 1/4 of Nightfall in it. So like a deep eggplant purple if you don't use Pulp Riot. It's like an eggplant purple with a really, really deep blue in there. I added a little bit of the blue just to make sure that it's like really, really nice and rich and deep. Our second formula is from Pulp Riot's Liquid Demi line. So because this is a demi and not a semi-permanent, it doesn't look like anything in the bowl, but this is going to be our gray formula. This is equal parts of 8.1, which is a level 8 blue base ash, and 9.11, which is a level 9 blue base double ash. I really like using Pulp's liquid Demis for grays. I feel like they just come out so perfect, and they're not too blue or too purple or too green. They're really, really balanced. So those are my go-tos for grays right now. For our deeper kind of like teal blue, I mixed Aquatic with Decoy. Aquatic is a teal, and Decoy is almost like kind of like a pastelized, I think it's technically called mermaid blue. So it was about equal parts of those. And then for our lighter blue, I mixed Powder, which is a pastel blue, with about half Sea Glass, which is a pastel green, just to give us kind of that like same like family as this teal color that I created, but just like a lighter pastelized version of that. And I'm also using Olaplex No.1 in all of these formulas. I use Olaplex No.1 in literally any chemical service I ever do, whether it's Lightener or permanent color or semis or whatever. I use Olaplex in absolutely everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna start our application. Can I actually scooch you a little bit this way too? So whenever you do color blocking, your application is so easy. It's almost like paint by numbers. Like I know this is going to be purple, so I'm just going to color this entire bottom section. This last little diamond shape that we created is going to be done with our purple formula. And if there are more questions, I can definitely get to those now, because I know it might get a little boring just watching me paint purple on her hair. But like, look at her blonde. It's so perfect.
So we do have a question from Jennifer on Facebook wondering if you can use Olaplex with any color or lightener.
Yes, you definitely can. Like I said, I mix it in with everything that I do. It will work with any brand. And you can also do standalone treatments with Olaplex too. So if you have a client that has damaged hair, you can mix the No.1 with water. If you check out Olaplex's website, they have the exact measurements up there for you, because I don't want to misspeak and tell you the wrong thing. But there's a lot of different ways to use Olaplex, and it can definitely be mixed with any brand.
We also have a question from Karen, who is wondering, what technique do you use to keep the dark color from fading on the lighter color / blonde?
Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So she was just wondering what techniques you use to keep darker colors from fading on blonde hair.
Okay, I see. So typically with Pulp Riot, after the initial rinse, even when I do really deep, rich tones like this, you don't have to worry about them bleeding. On top of that, though, I do always advise my clients to use really, really cool water when they're shampooing at home. And if I'm doing like, I don't know, say I'm doing like a red at the bottom and like a blonde on top or something, if I am worried about it bleeding, I might even tell them, you know, kind of shampoo your red first and then do the blonde almost separately. But really with Pulp Riot, I don't run into a lot of issues of having bleeding problems. And if I do, the cool water will definitely help with that.
So we also have a question from Crystal. She is wondering if you find that it slows down processing with some bleach.
Adding the Olaplex No.1 in, no, not at all. They used to advise to bump your developer if you were having trouble with that, but then they reformulated it so you don't even need to bump your developer, and it shouldn't affect your processing time at all. I typically really like to do the low and slow, so I'd rather wait a little longer though and just ensure that their hair is staying as healthy as possible. But no, I feel like it works really, really well without affecting your lightening process. So again, guys, I'm just working our purple formula through now. I'm kind of taking little diagonal sections, but since this is going to be all the same color, you can absolutely apply this in any sectioning that feels most comfortable to you. The main thing is just wanting to make sure that you have it all saturated. I'm gonna grab one more clip. I swear I could pull out 84 clips on my tray and it will never be enough clips. I always need more clips.
So we actually have a question from Kimberly from earlier. She was wondering what type of hair dryer you use.
I use the Dyson. I am obsessed with it. I got it from the Orlando Hair Show in 2019, I think. And I really lucked out. It was something that I had been considering getting for a while. But I really lucked out because at that hair show, they were doing a sale where their dryers were $150 off. It's normally like a $400 dryer, which I was like, oh my God. But now after using it, I would gladly pay the $400 for it again, just because it dries the hair so nice. It gets it so smooth, and it's really lightweight and quiet too. Like, I wasn't even sure if you guys would be able to hear me over the blow dryer. But I love that I don't have to like scream or have that like arm burnout feeling from blow drying too much. So if you are in need of a new blow dryer, I would absolutely recommend it.
We also have a question from Judith on Facebook wondering how long should you leave number 2 on the hair for severely damaged hair?
For severely damaged, I would let it stay on until it's almost dry. I want to say like 10 to 20 minutes is what's recommended. But as long as it's wet, it's going to work. A lot of people ask if they can sleep in it overnight. That's the only thing that I stopped recommending my clients to do, because once it's dry, it's not working anymore. And I try to really get my clients to not sleep with their hair wet, because then your hair is just more prone to breakage. And if your hair is wet and then you're like laying on your pillow and rolling all around on it, you could actually be causing more damage. So you can let it go. As long as it's wet, it's going to work for you.
We also have a question from Sherry wondering what proportions of Olaplex do you use to your color formulations?
So it depends on exactly how much color I'm mixing. For these, because I'm not mixing a ton of color, because I know I only need a little bit for each section, I did about a 1/16 in most of my bowls, but Olaplex's website also has the exact mixing instructions, or whenever you order a kit, it comes with a little card that tells you exactly how much you need for the amount that you are mixing. Okay, I'm gonna scoot you around. Y'all, I'm so hyped for this purple. I love doing like really, really rich colors like this. And a lot of times I feel like purple is almost one of my most requested vibrant colors. And a lot of times it's one of the hardest ones to really achieve because people lift so warm. And you know, if you put purple over a yellow canvas, it's just going to neutralize and you're not going to see that purple tone. So having the 4P, the new purple shampoo from Olaplex, is huge to really help me create these purples without having the tone from the hair muddy them out or mess up what the tone is supposed to look like.
So we do still have some newer viewers tuning in wondering what brands you've been using and stuff like that. So if you could just give a recap for them, that would be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. So Ariel came in with, she had already had her hair lightened and it was just a little too warm for the color palette that I wanted to do today. So I did a tone on her hair using Olaplex's new 4P shampoo. I didn't do a traditional toner. I just used the purple shampoo from Olaplex. I started it on her root area because her roots were warmer than her ends. I let that sit for about 2 minutes, and then I pulled it through her mids and ends and let it sit for about another 2 minutes. just to really cool off her canvas so I could apply these colors and not have to worry about the warmth on her hair affecting the palette that I wanted to use today. So I shampooed with the new 4P shampoo, and now we're working with some diamond color blocking sections. So I have 4 sections going on right now, and each section is going to be a different color. We have a diamond right at the top, almost going right around her crown, and that's going to be a light blue. The formula that I have mixed for that is powder with about half of sea glass. Both are from Pulp Riot, and then I put Olaplex No.1 in that as well. Our second section just mirrored the top section, and you can go back. I know it's a little hard for me just to hear things. If you're a visual person, you can go back and watch the live after and see exactly the sectioning as I was creating them. But our second section is another diamond. It just followed that top diamond and went all the way around. That's going to be for our dark blue, or dark teal. I keep calling it dark blue, but it's really more of a teal. And I used Aquatic and Decoy, which are both from Pulp Riot as well. That was about equal parts, and I added in Olaplex No.1. Our third section is in this back part of her head, a little below occipital, and that's just a triangle. So we have 2 diagonals coming down, and our horizontal part of the triangle is going across her occipital. In that section, we're going to be creating a gray using Pulp Riot's liquid Demis. So I used 8.1, which is a level 8 blue-based ash, with 9.11, which is a level 9 blue-based double ash. And those create the most beautiful grays without being too like green or looking too blue or whatever. They're just a really nice balanced gray, and it makes achieving grays so easy. And then for this bottom section, we're doing a nice deep purple, which I used Velvet with a little bit of Nightfall and Olaplex No.1 in both of those last bowls as well. So right now I'm just going through and applying on our last section, our purple. I'm taking diagonal sections to apply this, but it's really whatever you're most confident in working with, because this entire last bit of hair is going to be all the same color. So if you work better in vertical sections or horizontal, you can apply however you're most comfortable. Okay, so I'm going to, I still have a little bit over here that I haven't done, but I'm out of purple in my bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working in this triangle section where our gray is gonna be, so I don't have to stop and mix. And don't forget, guys, if you ask questions in this live chat, you'll be entered to win a free Traveling Stylist Kit from Olaplex. So make sure that you are asking those questions so you can be entered in that giveaway. I am going to go through and do a little rough dry right through here too. But as we found out earlier, you guys can hear me over the blow dryer, so I can answer anything that you guys have. One cool thing that I've discovered recently too, this is a Demi that I'm going to be using in this section, and everything else is semi-permanent. So the Demi section is the only bold color section that uses a developer, but the liquid Demis from Pulp Riot are ammonia free. So I can apply this and not even have to, like put it in foils or saran wrap it off. Even if they kind of lie on top of each other, it's not going to do anything to my semis. And the semi-permanents encapsulate from Pulp Riot, which means that they form a little shell. So that way I don't have to worry about my color transferring while I'm trying to work in other sections. So I'll be able to just put this right. I mean, I'm not going to smush it together, like we're not going to get that crazy, but I will be able to just apply the color and not have to worry about dealing with any kind of like foils or mesh sheets or anything like that. If I was using a permanent color, I would probably separate this with some mesh sheets just to make sure that the permanent color doesn't eat through the semi at all.
We do have a question from Crystal on Facebook. She's wondering what brand and size brushes you were using earlier.
Throwing clips now. I'm using the gold ones. These. Okay, I'll tell you about. This is Olivia Garden. This is the Nanothermic. It's ceramic plus ion. These are my absolute favorite round brushes. They just get the hair so smooth, and they have like all the different sizes. And I never use it, but I think it's cool. This little bottom part, I can't get it out because it has gloves on, but this little bottom part pops out and you can flip it over and it's got a point on it so you can use it to section while you're doing your blowouts or whatever. I don't use it personally because I'm scared I would stab my eye out, but it's a cool little party trick. And then my detangling brush, I've been hooked on these framer ones. I used to use a wet brush, and I felt like even wet brushes were still kind of like getting snagged in my client's hair, and my daughter's hair especially too. She was just always complaining. So I tried this framer one, and I've had really, really good results with this one. And these are super cheap too. I got that one on the Framer website. And then the Olivia Garden round brushes. I think I've gotten all of mine from Salon Centric, but you can also find them online too. So now I'm working through this triangle section. I'm gonna spin her and show you guys. We'll spin her real quick. So this is our triangle section. So we have right about occipital, just our horizontal part, and then we have two diagonals coming down. So we have a nice little triangle section going. I'll scoot you back around. And again, because this entire section is going to be done with our gray color, I just personally feel the most comfortable working in diagonals. But again, you can take whatever kind of subsections you operate best in, because that whole section is going to end up being your gray color. Now the liquid Demis, I've been obsessed with these too, because they have like a really cool like gel consistency. So they're really, really spreadable, but they're not like super thick, but they also stay where you put them. So they're not like running and dripping and getting everywhere you don't want them to get. They're just really, really easy to work with. So I'm just going to apply that all through here. I love doing demi and semi applications at the same time too, because their processing time is all very close together. So after I finish applying everything, she's just going to sit at room temperature for about 20-25 minutes. And then we're going to, this is where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to shampoo this little triangle section. So let's see, how am I going to do that? I think I'll do that first. I'll leave everything else clipped up, and I'll just rinse this out and do a little shampoo through here. Because this is an oxidative color, I want to make sure that I do shampoo that off the hair. The semis, I am going to just rinse with really, really cool water. Anytime I do a semi application, but especially when I do a semi application that has deeps and light tones, I want to make sure I'm rinsing with cool water just to make sure it doesn't bleed. And then because I did use Olaplex No.1 in my formulas, I'm going to apply Olaplex No.2 after, and this is against manufacturer's directions too, but I don't shampoo the Olaplex No.2 out when I put it over Vibrance, because with your vibrant colors, you don't want to shampoo. You just want to rinse until they're off of the hair. Manufacturer's instructions do say to shampoo the No.2 out, but that's just me personally, what works.
So Judith wants to know, how long can you leave the color on her hair?
With semis, you can really let it go. With Demis too, you can. I feel like a lot of times our concern is like, will they get darker? Something about the Demi-Permanent, to me, I feel like I want to rinse it out at, its recommended processing time. But to be totally honest with you, I've done semis and demis on a mannequin and let them sit for 2 days because I just didn't feel like rinsing them out right then, and their hair has been fine. A lot of stylists actually like to let the semis sit until they're dry. But for me, about 25 minutes is it's done all it's going to do, and it's going to stay on the hair well. But if you're working with a mannequin that doesn't really care if her hair falls out either way, I've let it sit for a while, and it's always been fine. The one thing I will say with color blocking is I take my section that I'm not working on and I kind of clip it into another section that I haven't started yet. So just make sure your clips are clean, because I've definitely grabbed a clip that had some of the previous color on it and smushed it right into a section where it wasn't supposed to go. So if you guys see me obsessively checking my clips, I'm just looking for color that may have ended up on it so I don't ruin everything.
Lori wants to know if you ever put your semis under the dryer.
I have actually never put a Pulp Riot semi under the dryer. They don't need the heat, and I don't even, to be honest, I don't put anything under a dryer anymore. I don't even have one, just because I feel like I personally get better results when I just let it go a longer time. I don't like to use heat to like force the cuticle open or anything like that. So no, I've always had really, really good results and a lot of longevity without even having to use a dryer on them. All right, so we are wrapping up our gray section right now. I've got about 2 subsections left for the gray. How are we doing on time, Rachel?
Well, we have almost hit an hour. We're at 58 minutes. But feel free to go over that if you need to finish saying and doing everything you want to do.
I mean, I'm open. I'm going to be here either way, so I'll let you guys make the call. If you want to stay on, I'm open to staying on. If you guys want to wrap, we can wrap. Okay, so that's the last bit of our gray formula. So now I'm going to just dry this next section. Typically what I would have done is dry the whole thing first and then go through. But like I said earlier, I don't want you guys just to have to sit here and watch me do a whole blowout, because I feel like that would get boring very quickly. I'm actually, to make this easier on myself, because we have these 2 diagonals, I function a little better in smaller subsections. So I'm going to split this into 2. I'm just going to split it right at the point, and then I'm going to work, let's see, I'll do this front section first. I'm just going to work in subsections through that, and this is going to be for our deep teal color. And like I said earlier, for this part, my main goal is just to get the hair dry. I don't need to do like a fancy blowout when I'm about to put color on over it. So I just kind of do like a rough dry until there's no more moisture left on the hair. Okay, so here is our deep teal. This was a mix of Aquatic and Decoy. Both are from Pulp Riot. And I did add the Olaplex No.1 in here too, just to make sure her hair stays super, super strong and healthy. Let's see. Where can I put you guys? So I like to outline my sections too. This is like my favorite color, hands down. I'm so excited for this one. A lot of times I like to kind of outline my section first and then work through it in smaller subsections, and that just kind of helps guarantee that I don't miss any little pieces in there. So now I'm just going to split that and pull it down. I'm so obsessed with this color. Oh my God. I love working with the Pulp Riot Semis and the Olaplex No.1 together, because not only is my client's hair getting like a really nice treatment while they're getting their color done. For one, the Pulp Riot colors are conditioner based, so they're going to be really, really soothing to the hair. Okay, the Pulp Riot Semi colors, let me rephrase that. The Pulp Riot Semis are conditioner based, so they're going to be just really, really soothing and gentle on the hair. But just whenever the two are mixed together, they just like glide on so well, and they have the best like consistency. I love it.
So we are at about the hour mark now, if you want to kind of recap everything that you did during the live.
Absolutely. So first off, thank you guys so much for coming to hang out, and thank you behind the chair for hosting me today. I had so much fun. What we did today, guys, one more time, was Ariel came in with lightened hair, but it was kind of that lightened hair that had a lot of warmth left in it, a lot of residual yellow tones, and the palette that I had envisioned for her today was a cooler toned palette. So I couldn't do purples or blues or grays with yellow underneath, because it's just really going to affect how my vibrant colors show their tones. So to pre-tone her hair before my vibrant application, I used Olaplex's new 4P. I'm going to grab the bottle so I can show you one more time. So this is just released from Olaplex, and the bottle looked super nice when I started, and then now it's all like crazy looking because I got shampoo all over it. But this is the new 4P from Olaplex. It is their new purple shampoo. It's highly, highly pigmented, and it has Olaplex's bond building technology. So not only are you going to be able to cut any unnecessary warm tones when you're working on a client in the salon, but it's also going to strengthen their hair. This is a great option to send home with your blondes, for your gray clients, or anyone that has lightened hair, and if they want to cut brass at home, this is going to be a great option to send home with your clients as well. So I pre-toned her hair with the Olaplex 4P, and then I did add a little conditioner just to smooth out tangles. From there, we've been working on this color blocking pattern using diamonds and triangles just to give her a really cool kind of like chunky 90s inspired cool toned palette look. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I really appreciate you being here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. It's Caitlin Bridget, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.